Greetings. Welcome to Conversation with Tony Mobley. Today is March 25th. It's been a long day. This is episode 11 of 2026 of Conversation with Tony Mobley. This conversation uses the TV broadcast software, Mimo Live. It is part of the Boink software. And we also use Zoom. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Clarlock Lopez Waterman. Our current team includes Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture. Thank you, sir, and thank you, team. The team also has additional support from JJ McKenna and Tamara Pinka. ConversationWithTonyMobley.com is our website, and you can also watch us on our website as well as past conversations on the website and on YouTube. We have a interactive chat. It's called Mukana, and it's courtesy of Alex Lindsay. And there should be a QR code there where you can ask your questions. Not only can you ask your questions, those questions can be voted up or down. That's right. And so if you choose not to ask the question in your questions in Mukana, well, you can ask your questions in the YouTube chat. We have people monitoring the chat so that you can bring your questions in that way if you choose to do so. We started this year, 2026, with theater professional and college professor Jessica Lopez Barkle. Then we had Kenn Jordan on talking about the importance of quality using AI. And then we had Ross McNulty, a digital magician and fashion meets the future person who is an evangelist for Apple Vision Pro. That's right. And we also had two of the trio that make up the last angry DJ, Mitchell Hill and Mark Giuliani, celebrating their 100th show. Now they're on episode 105, I believe. We had Gary B. Jr., who was on for his free show, Evangelist. This was part 2 of his conversation with us. We also had AJ, the CEO, the E-Missionary. On February 25th, we had an educational panel. There was Ms. Chantel Jackson, Rabbi David Paskin, and Miss Carissa Worthy. We also had, the following week, Ricardo Hicks, the CEO and president of the Tech Factory. And then last week, we had an educational AI panel, and it was packed, and we had a great conversation last week. It was extremely informative, and we encourage you to go back and watch that conversation. It included Rabbi David Paskin, Miss Chantel Jackson, and Ms. Emily Russo. Today, we are having a ground-shaking AI tool release with Kenn Jordan. That's right. This is a lab for AI website development with Kenn Jordan. So we're going to ask you right now to whether you choose to use the YouTube chat or Mukana, ask your questions while we do this lab live. We are doing a lab live, and Kenn is going to be showing the development of a website live. That's right. So join us. And so we're going to go to our very first question, which is, Kenn, let's start this lab. Let's get going.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, if you need an introduction to me, there is 9 other shows I was on where you can get that, because I really want to quickly dive into the lab session today, because there's a lot to cover. Probably won't be able to cover it all in this one session, but I will be back and we'll do others. What been developed, so what we've developed is there's been a new content management system, CMS platform, built by Chris Pearson. If you use WordPress and been using WordPress for a while, you would know Chris. He was one of the top developers for building one of the best themes on WordPress. And he a few years ago decided to, that we needed a leaner, faster content management solution for hosting websites. But recently, because now with the growth of AI, he started to make it kind of AI friendly, so that that it would work in conjunction with AI, and that's when I like to come aboard, because I'm, as you know from many other shows, very very keen on AI solutions. But in the past recent weeks, things have moved on a really fair pace. The platform, even though it's a very early beta, it's not released yet. It's still in development. It's a kind of a closed forum group where we're helping to advising and building tools for it. But it's become stable enough that I have started actually transferring WordPress websites onto this platform, and we're going to demonstrate that today. Not necessarily with a WordPress website. I've actually built an engine. Again, still very early stages. The engine's early development. The platform it's on is early development. So it's a kind of moving sand that it's built on, but it is able to, by you using it, it's an interview process initially. That's actually what takes most of the time. When I have clients and they come to a website, there's a lot of questions, because there's a lot of things they might not have thought about, and that session could go on for quite a while, to fully get them understanding what they can do online, and me understanding exactly what they're wanting. And so the more time you spend in that process, the better the end result can be. So I've put all my many decades of experience into this, and still feeding into it. So when you use this system, it's an interview process, and from that interview, depending on where you are in your journey on wanting to have a website built, it would then takes all of that information and then builds out an actual site that you can see and you can interact with. Now, you can kind of do that with lots of AI tools. They can generate a web page for you. But the thing is, what can you do from then? It's or having this web page built, but you're going to want it on a domain name. You're going to want to be able to take information in on it, the comment box, or just a contact form, and all of those things require it to be tied in at the back end to databases and things like that.
Ken, I want to interrupt you just for a quick minute. Can you talk about the fact that as a person who has been fortunate enough to try this out, can you talk about the ease of use of it?
Yeah, that's just the key thing for me in the way I built it. It is designed that it's a conversation that you're having. It's not a technical thing on what kind of fonts you're looking for or the size of you have a conversation with this tool and it's designed to extract from you what you're looking for, what you can do, and it asks you questions so that you kind of get to understand what it can build. So if you can type or speak, then you can use this tool. It's all natural language that you put into it, and it's all natural questions that it's asking you back and forth. From that conversation, it will then generate the website. So it's not that you have to know some kind of special prompts. It's none of that. It's just a straight conversation back and forth, and then from that, it can generate the web page. But it's then the real the piece that's missing from a lot of from all of those AI solutions that can do that is then having that hosted on your own platform, and you then being able to, tie in booking solutions, e-commerce, I said email, newsletters into it, and it having a domain name that you own, so that people can go to that domain name and go to the website and interact with it as if it was any other website. And that's the foundation layer, which is called PageMotor. That's, as I said, it's not out yet. It's a closed group. I think you can join the beta program. It's definitely not cheap or free to join it, but you'll be at what I believe in, and I said I've been in this industry for many decades. This is the most excited I have ever been about what the future of the internet is, what the future of websites are, what the future of, for any person who has a vision or an idea or dream of having a online presence without having to.
I want to jump in again because I know how excited you are about this and the enthusiasm that you have about it. And so I've been sharing on social media, as well as with anybody who will listen, the enthusiasm and the fact that this is in fact a revolutionary type of way of looking at AI development. I also shared on LinkedIn and Facebook today as well, for us to have this. And this is going to be, we're going to be doing labs on this. This is not a one-time thing that we're going to be doing as far as this lab development. And if you don't mind, Ken, I'd just like to share that as one of your beta testers, what was your expectation for me as a person who just had an opportunity to just look at the interface, the beta interface?
Yeah, as soon as I built, it's called buildyourweb.site, and took it out from the closed forum that it's in, Tony was actually the first person to use it. So I sent it, I think it was ready to get some real world testing, people outside of this, not bubble as such, but the forum area where we've been working on this for a while, to just literally sent it out just to see, okay, this is the kind of a real test on it. Now, what was interesting, well, and normally this is one of the first things I think about when I'm building this, but I hadn't envisaged that someone would be going through this whole process on their phone. Now, that's a big mistake on my part, because actually most 80% of web traffic is people doing control on their phone. So, and when Tony, and also because it was on the phone, rather than him having to type in, he was speaking, he was dictating into it. So as soon as I heard that from Tony, I said, okay, there are one or two things I just needed to tweak. And I think that's the speed of development on this is now, as I said, if you go back to watch any of the shows, you know I'm a massive component of AI and what it can do. Even I was surprised at the speed of development, how quickly things are moving, how quickly and the quality, more importantly, of the output you could get. Now, I'm using Claude Code in a it's using it in Visual Studio, and and that's what I'm using to build this. But the biggest reason of why the speed of development is so quick, it is again the foundation that it's on. The PageMotor foundation, I said, built by Chris Pearson. He is a old school in terms of coding. Because back in the day, you had to be, you were worrying about each pixel. You were worrying about things had to be optimized because computers were very slow then. And so, you were working every dot, every pixel mattered because, you wanted to get it optimized and for the speed. And to be honest, a lot of developers now have got lazy because these computers are so fast, so you don't, that level of optimization, if you're old school, it was second nature, but if you continued that discipline, that means you can get some really, this code is so fast and so small that I can run multiple instances of it. I've got multiple instances running locally on these machines, and you don't need a big, whatever, the smallest hosting package to host it, and it runs blindingly fast. And because it's so well written and so well coded and optimized for that, building onto it, and and as I said, it was designed from ground up to be AI friendly. So
not only is it AI friendly, it's also smartphone friendly. I was amazed. I really was amazed at the way in which I was able, and we hadn't had a conversation. You just said, if you're willing, go ahead and test this out. I did not know that I was the first one to test it out, but I just to be transparent, I did not even recognize that I was going to do it on my laptop, and then I just said, well, let me just try it out on the phone and just see how it works, and I was able to really create a template. It took longer for me to answer the questions that the AI was asking within, I'm going to say, 45 minutes to an hour to answer the questions, and then it created a template that was a temporary template, and you were generous enough to share with me what that template had generated, and I was absolutely amazed. And then I ran into a rub because I created a website for an organization, and I did not have permission to use it as a model. So then I had to turn around and actually create a website that I was thinking about for my own personal challenges in terms of things that I wanted to do down the line. So that what you will eventually see later on in our conversation is the result of that. But Ken, I just want you to talk a little bit about the fact that, you know, I have no training at all in website development. I know nothing about coding whatsoever. I just know the name of WordPress, but there's nothing that I know that would, you know, facilitate actually, you know, building a website. So just talk about how easy it is for just regular people to use it, because you already shared a lot of great information about the people from the technical standpoint that know about, you know, the infrastructure of building a high quality website. But what do you want regular people to know?
Yeah, I think, and so we will dive deeper into this going forward. As I said earlier, this is designed for you to have a conversation with it, and it's designed to ask you enough probing questions to pull out from you all the information that it requires to build something that you want. It's not trying to steer you into this template or that template. It is trying to deliver to your needs, and that's why, and it's quite deliberate, the level of questioning that there is there. Now, you can go through it quicker if you knew exactly what you wanted and you had it, you know, kind of all planned out exactly, you know, the kind of needs that you could, and you could just feed that in. But, you know, you would need to be an expert to be able to get through it that quickly, because even myself, even though I built it, when I use it to come up with other, okay, now I need a website to do X. Well, for example, I wanted to do one for, now I'm here in Ireland. Well, when before we were in the property that we bought now, I was renting in Banno, which has there's a massive kind of bird sanctuary there, and I wanted to build a website it's called Birds of Banno Bay, and to have, you know, all the birds that are there and seasonally, and to make a beautiful website that was kind of showcasing the variety of birds that are actually in that one location. And, you know, through that conversation that I had with it, and what, you know, decide, oh yeah, that's a good idea, you know, and then it produced, which, and, you know, I said, I've been in the industry for a long time. I know what it takes to build something, but I was blown away with the quality of what that produced. And let's actually show it, because I wasn't going to show that one. That was just an example. Let's have a look. See which shows up on here. So this was.
We're thinking alike. I pulled it up too.
Okay. All right. So this was one of the first sites that I built with. So even when it was in a prototype, so just the engine was there, just the question and answer part was there. So the build of this took 2, maybe 3 minutes. The input, though, was hours. You know, and this is, you know, you can, as I said, the difference in this, you can go to birdsofbannobay.com and interact with this. It has so there's a gallery, which ones, and then you can click on that and zoom in and give a bit more. Now, pulling up the kingfisher, especially because for any bird watchers out there, they would know that the category that I've got the kingfisher in isn't right. It's not in a, because it's under songbirds, and it should actually be under, I can't remember the Latin term for it. So there's a gallery view here, or you can do it by, so like we want the woodland birds, and you'll see here on the corner whether whether they're resident or Bono Bay, or they're seasonal, or you can, so you know, so you can see all year round, or seasonal visitors. You can do that, and then there's a bit about the habitat. You know, what you expect in different year round, what you would expect to see there, with links to those birds, what you expect to see at that particular time of year, and then a interactive map of the area. So,
Wow.
as I said, it produced that in 3 minutes. The conversation and the back and forth took hours, took a while. I really wanted, really wanted this to be something special, but this would have taken me to build, and there's actually some elements of it which will be really difficult. Days and days, if not a couple of weeks, to have put something, and I don't even think then it would have been looked as good as this. So once I knew that it could produce this level of quality, then, it was, the light bulb went off, and I said, okay, let me package this so that anybody can produce something of this quality. So there was no conversation in here about the design, the look, the colors, the fonts. It was purely a conversation about what I was looking for. And yes, okay, so I been doing this for a while, so I had very, very specific needs and wants. I really wanted to push this to the limits of what would be possible to do, and because the platform of PageMotor that this sits on meant that I could put it on this, host it, put a domain name to it, and put it out there for the world to see. As I said, I haven't revisited back to this yet to enhance it more, because this is probably, I don't know now, 3-4 weeks old. I can't remember. Might be even a bit longer. Time. That's another weird thing when you're working with these tools. Time is it's a weird paradigm that we're on. So, but this is now ancient history in terms of what I can now add to this, to what I've been working on since. So,
wow. It's truly gorgeous. It really is gorgeous, Ken. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So what next was okay. I wanted to package this so that anyone could have that conversation and build and the output would be a website perfectly tailored to your needs. And so I knew that that the questioning and the probing about it would be key. Now, initially, when I designed this, it was more for, because this work I do is very much a business model, that you had something to sell, or you had a service, or a skill, or a workshop that you wanted to do and sell. And that's what was all my focus initially when I was building the engine to do this. And it was, again, when Tony came back, because when he said he wanted to build things for his church, and I knew, okay, I then had to go back into this and to make sure that, it could be, add the other option, because the interface of this has changed, what was there originally, so, because everything I had before was all about, as you see here, digital products, or you were offering a service or a booking. So I added something else, which is the catch-all. So if you choose something else, it would, and depending because if you choose one of these digital products, all you need to put in your email address, press start, and away you go. And same with services. But if you put in something else, it will say here, describe your business in a sentence. Now that line will then help guide it on the path that it's got in terms of, okay, they're wanting this kind of website, so let me frame the questioning in that. Now, this is two weeks old, 20 odd days old. I know that because I was away for 20 odd days and I hadn't touched it. I was building lots of other things. I mean, as Helen has got, because I was
Ken,
there on the beach and I had my laptop.
I just wanted to ask what the audience is looking at right now. That is where we are right now at this particular moment.
Yeah. This is buildaweb.site. This is where you can go to and get this to produce what Tony produced, what we are going to, get to, which is this will put the conversation that you have with this. And again, the way that this is designed is about, I had one user, she'd spent 4 or 5 hours on this, because it helped. Its first phase is to help you come up with a business plan, a business model that will work online. And so she was going back and forth and asking more questions, and it was going down, it will take you down, if you want to go down that route, it will go down there, but gently then pull you back onto the subject of, where in the end we want to get you to build this website. It is a and it produced, and I think I can share the one that she's building on here, a whole new kind of paradigm shift for her, in that, in building a online solution that enables her to have more free time, because this can work and produce, and the clients who would interact with it, it doesn't need her to be there 24/7 with it. She can set it up, and there's a lot of automation and stuff that's actually in it. So even I would say I would urge you to go to it. It is not free. It is presently free for you to use. It's not free for me, because this is a sophisticated AI engine, and it is using tokens. I almost, I think it was literally 20 minutes before the start of the show, or maybe even less, I went to it and it wasn't working. Error message coming up. Went to Claude, say, what? Hold on, why is it? Yeah, I'm going to demo this. I'm demoing this live, and you decide not. It's now not working.
Yeah.
What it was that, yes, what it was it said there's nothing wrong with the site, that's all fine. It's the API call out to Anthropic that because I've got it set with very strict kind of credit balances, and those had run out, the tokens had run out, and I needed to refresh those, so I needed to buy more tokens for it. even though I put those in, it still took a few minutes, felt like hours before it kicked back in. So I encourage you to use it, but if you're late to the game and it's it's not working or it's off, it's because we're either still developing it. There's a lot of extra parts that we're going to putting into this. Building a full multi-page website into it. I've got another engine which I can demonstrate to you. Most of the AI kind of stuff you see is literally just a homepage, which is what this initially produces. But it produces the design and all the thing is, what you've got to remember, it's not a template solution that's on here. It will, because you've had that level of conversation, write everything up for you. It will put all. We'll show the outputs for other ones.
I think it's important. I think it's important as a person who has had a chance to play with it. I think it's important to share that it does what. One of the things that I took away from it was that it asked questions in a way that it was pulling part of who I am or my personality into how the website needed to be created. The questions were probing enough that it got, I guess, part of my experience was that it got part of the genuineness of who I am in the way in which I experienced the website being created. When I looked at it, I could see, hey, that's part of who I am in there showing. And so I think it's important for people to understand that. And when you talked about the other person who used it and they spent 4 hours and it took them down different paths, I understand very clearly how that can happen because of the experience that I had. And then my experience was not even the latest experience of what it is now. So I'm absolutely excited for what this is going to become. And I just want to say to our audience, this is a great time to ask questions. We are going to have future labs absolutely in the future. And this is not going to be a one-time thing that we're talking about tonight. But I'm kind of excited to share in this conversation what I was able to do and how Kenn was able to tweak it. So looking forward to that. But I just wanted to share that I think it's important for people to recognize that it is not really sort of a cookie cutter kind of thing. And it's not really that, that kind of thing that's kind of bland and everybody who uses it is going to see it as, oh, that's a website builder that, Kenn Jordan created. You're not going to be able to tell that because this is so, beautiful in terms of how the AI works with your conversation with it. And I'm sorry. I'm not to the level of excitement that you are, but I am excited that the template that I was able to create for myself for this would have taken me forever to do what we had as a template for me. And just the fact that, it was, well, it was almost instantaneous when it created it, but it was the fact that I spent, an hour or less creating it, going through the questions and it pulling things from me. And so, I'm sorry, kid. I think it's actually, for me, it's actually hearing your first-hand experience with it, because that's the way that this kind of is going to get better, is by having this in the hands of
or the more people that this is in the hands, and the more that it will learn, the more that I can pull from it. And as I said, this is 2 weeks old, which is a half a lifetime in the development of what it can do. We can, as I said, I'm kind of rushing here because I'm trying to fit it all into one. I just need to slow down because we can come back. There is, because I want to show what Tony, what this produced for Tony, but I've also got here what was literally finished, and we might put some part of that part in, literally finished maybe 2-3 hours ago. This is me being here at Tony's show and doing this. It's probably the longest I've been away from just literally typing away, putting more into the stuff on here. I know there are some forum questions kind of building up because I released a new feature, again developed because of the website that Tony built, because I had a let's show that we can. So the way that this it will work when it's properly released. Presently, when Tony's version when it produced that when it produced the web page, that's when it stops. It then it's, and even Tony's was actually a pre-release, because Tony had to physically send me the HTML output that this produced. The original build of this was designed to help me and the agency in terms of producing, getting that detailed question and answer that would, mean that someone much junior, because I developed this not as a front-facing tool, it was to help them when I'm not there, because I can't meet every client or do the initial meetings. You don't until we can see, oh no, they're at a certain level that I then kind of step in. But all of that now has actually changed. I've kind of moved away from that side because I can see the true potential of what this is it's going to sound hyperbolic, but it is a new paradigm shift on how websites should be built, because it's purely and 100% from the user's point of view, without them having to jump through hoops that a designer or a web developer will put you through, and you having to bend to what they build. And well, I'm sorry, you can't have it this way because our tool works this way. That's not the future. The future is it customized exactly to your needs. Now, you might not know what your needs are. That's why the interview process is that first step. You can't get past, well, you can get past it. You can jump straight to that, but you need, that's not, it doesn't, if you want to produce something that is really understands you and gets your needs. And that's why I was so, kind of that proud in terms of, look at what this has given birth to, something that Tony, this is the essence of Tony in this. This is Tony's vision come to life. And so, those moments, and I know that, I've nailed it. The development though of this is, as I said, it can now produce multi-page websites directly, the contact form, the booking solution, the e-commerce module, which got finished, I think about 2:00 on yesterday, where full Stripe integration into it, up and live. You put your and put your you purchase things and
for
stuff
people
on it.
for people who don't know what Stripe is, can you just quickly share?
Stripe is one of the major payment gateways, because it's another element that a lot of when you see that there are tons on YouTube of people saying, oh yeah, I built 5 websites in 30 minutes and I've earned, sold them for £5,000 each or whatever. The reality is, the AI can produce a beautiful front end, especially, well, the way that we've built this, it really can. But that's just, what can you do with that? Nothing, unless at the back end, it ties into the infrastructure that the web is built on. Stripe is a payment gateway. It's like PayPal is a payment gateway, but Stripe is beautifully engineered for taking in payment, subscription models, all that type of thing is all built into Stripe, so that you don't have to, so when people putting in their credit card details, none of that data is stored on your servers. It's all securely stored by this payment gateway engine, which is Stripe. So your site is, it doesn't contain any of the customer's credit information. That's all controlled via this payment gateway. So anyway, yeah, integrating and linking into Stripe was easy. They're getting that integrated in. As I said, the hardest part was email. I won't go too much into detail on this because it's quite a boring conversation in terms of that. But email is really, really difficult.
I know how important this is, but I really need to bring in.
Yes, please do, Tony, because I can go down multiple routes.
Liberty's messing with you. Liberty's messing with you in the YouTube chat, and she says, yes, Ken, give that raw cha Jamaican for real talk. But I think I don't want to diminish the importance of what you're talking about in terms of the commerce and the email structure and that kind of thing. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It is the layer that turns this being a pretty postcard into actually being a proper business tool. All of those hooks that you don't see, you don't need to see them, but those are the things that turn a flat page into actually being something that's useful.
I think that's the part that people don't get, because anybody can come up as what you said, the front end, and make it look pretty. But the actual infrastructure in terms of the holding it up and being able to use it as a resource for your website, and being able to use the automation of the email and the actual able to receive payments, or giving people a mechanism for purchasing or donating or whatever it is that holds up the website. The real function of why you have the website in the first place is that's the part that you are sharing with us tonight. And I think that's important for people to really, really get a handle on. And Liberty comes in with a question. She says, Ken, do you find that you have more customers as a result of people not understanding that they need the back end support?
I suppose the reality is that we deliberately, hide that from them. They don't need to know all the nuts and bolts. They just need it to work and to deliver what they need. Now, we make sure that because we develop at the back end and make that work so seamlessly, means that the customer doesn't ask about that. It just works because, yes, we have, there's a decades of experience of knowing, and that needs to be in place. I mean, typically on we'll use WordPress as an example. That's what, 43% of the internet of websites are WordPress. Now, WordPress is a free platform. So will PageMotor be. It will be free for you to use, just like WordPress. But just having a WordPress site, then you need a theme, a skin, a look and feel for it. Then you need a email program, Gravity Forms, Contact Form 7, whatever, because you want people to communicate to you with it. Then you need a newsletter. There are a myriad of newsletter, MailChimp, etc. They're all because and then you want, well, I would love to, sell something or to promote or sell this course or something. Then you need a e-commerce program like WooCommerce you'd put into it. Then you realize, well, I need a storefront, and there would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 different plugins from different suppliers, all we've got to put into this monolithic WordPress thing for it to work. And then you realize the back end or the website slows down, so I need more hosting, and it becomes a very vicious circle. And which I'm fully aware of. I know how to, what level of optimization you need to, just so that when people come to the website, it doesn't take 20 seconds when they click on a button for something to happen. And so there's a ton of work in doing that. I now have moved away from that. I'm fortunate enough that I can dedicate all my time to this, and this is like, it literally is like working in paradise in comparison to having to do anything with WordPress, because it is blisteringly fast, and it's a totally different way of working, and so, as I said, even though the software presently, as I said, it's closed beta, it's not released yet, but it's more than stable enough. The release number is 0.7.2b. B's there because it's beta. It's not even version 1, but it's more than stable enough. And I'll show you one of the websites that Okay, so let me first go to, now I need to remember which one, because they both look the same. This is, let me first show you the WordPress one. So let me see if that's coming up. So this is my website. This is what I built, long story behind it. You can go to the website and read. It tells you what the story is of the whole move to Ireland and why and all of that. It's all on there. And the reason why I built it, that's why it's no longer being updated, because it's no longer kind of relevant to where we are now. But anyway, the thing was, I built this website. It's got, what is it, somehow 112 pages, 32, 36 blog posts, lot of, there's a YouTube video embeds that are on there. There's a ton of information. There's so on here, these are focus cards that would go to so the videos, and at the bottom there's a contact form. Let's go to the blog. So there's an index here on the blog, and go to the blog, and then there's again the YouTube embeds.
Ken, we want to make sure that people have a chance to actually go through the website properly. So yeah. Can you share the link?
There are two things here. What I actually really want to share isn't this. This is ourecojourney.com. That's on WordPress. Typical WordPress, loads of plugins, highly optimized so that it works and runs fast. But what I want to show you is I then built an engine which will be built into, what I'm showing you today is only a day and a bit old. So as I said, build a web.site is 2 weeks old, ancient. It will be updated constantly, but what I wanted to demonstrate to you of what this output can do, because this is the development that we've done. So what I've built is another engine that takes this website goes 8 levels deep. Basically means you go on a page and it goes another page down to 8 levels is on this WordPress website. But I then, through the engine we built, converted it to this. This is on PageMotor. This was built, this extracted all of that content, all 100 and whatever pages, all the 8 levels of depthness, all of the YouTube embeds, all of the focus cards with all that interaction, all of it is in here. But not just that's just flat content, going through the newsletter.
And I just want to say to the people that are watching, if you don't understand what he's saying, this was part of the structure of the old system. This was WordPress.
This was WordPress,
and pulled it over to this new system. And now it's working on the new system, and it's
miles faster. It uses only the plugins that I've built. So this would have been before a Gravity form linked into a newsletter program, so that when you signed up, you went from the Gravity form into the newsletter program. Into the newsletter program then had a listing or a drip feed and to send you back. All of that has been built and replicated all in the one platform on PageMotor. No plugins. Well, there are plugins. They're all my plugins, all plugged into it, but all comes kind of with it. So I can extract. So the process of, because it's one thing just extracting the text, but then you need to extract the contact form. You want to extract the YouTube embeds, the cards, the emailing list. All of that infrastructure has been pulled across so that I can turn off that WordPress and work in Paradise, which is what PageMotor gives me. And I even put onto here this breadcrumbs. So even the breadcrumbs, I mean, if you're technical, you would know what breadcrumbs are. They're not on the WordPress website. I could have done, but even that, I was just experimenting and saying, right, what else could I put? But that isn't the half of it, because that is, so that is extracting an 8 levels deep Gravity forms newsletter application. What else was on there? Oh, commenting system. I haven't turned on the commenting system on here, but there's a full commenting system that's on here, extracted over on the platform.
Ken, we're out of time.
Oh no, no, no!
We're out
We
of
haven't.
time.
We
So
can't be out. This is. I have the only. Okay, I have to come back because I haven't even touched the surface of what. Because we haven't even talked about your website, Tony. That was the whole point. But we'll do that next time. The key. The key
can you
thing
just
is
show one page of it, maybe? Just,
yes. Well, the thing is now, Tony. Your site is live. And people can interact with it. They can join the newsletter. So we're going to do the whole reveal and the build, but virtualfaithconnections.com, go to that domain. You will see Tony's website and you can interact with it. You can join, we would put Tony's picture in. We were going to do that live. You can read Tony's full story. Don't forget, all of this was generated and written by, Build the Web's .site. That engine built all of this, all of the content. So, there's some bits in there that we need to edit. Tony will do that at the end of the show, because I know there's some things we need to remove and stuff from here. So we'll quickly do that after. Well, I know my time is up. But you can go to virtualfaithconnections.com and you can see it there. And if you want to help Tony out, and this was a bit that I recently added at the bottom is a live and working donation system. So you can give, put your name, email address in, and donate, and that will go to Tony. So
Virtual Faith Connections is live. Thank you so much, Ken, and I ask our audience,
I can't believe the hour's gone.
Check it out, and you will get a chance to actually see how it develops, even from tonight to our next session, which will probably be the fourth Wednesday of next month. And so we're going to be doing labs going forward. And I'll apologize to our team on the back end, because we are over time. And we want to say, first, thank you, Ken, so much for sharing that and actually making the website live. I'm really happy about that. Watch Conversation with Tony Mobley on YouTube and our website, conversationwithtonymobley.com. Conversation with Tony Mobley, again, is produced by Clalot Lopez Waterman. Our current team is Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture, and thank you, sir. Thank you, team. Thank you, Mimo Live, and thank you, Zoom, for making this broadcast possible. We have conversations with real people, and we do now labs. Stay tuned for new episodes and great conversations on Conversation with Tony Mobley. We have near 200 plus conversations on Conversation with Tony Mobley. When you have time, we ask that you go back and take a look at those 200 conversations, and hopefully there will be something in there that is helpful and that you like. Thank you, Ken Jordan. Thank you for being a part of our conversation today and for being the person who you are. Next week, Mr. Michael Forrest, QCAM presenter. He's done an update over the last several weeks, and we're going to talk about that. And I encourage anybody who is doing any kind of teaching, whether you're actually public school, private school, if you do anything in education, or in presentations, period. If you do presentations, join us next week for this conversation with Michael Forrest. This is going to be extremely important. Please feel free to support Conversation with Tony Mobley by volunteering your time or donating to keep Conversation with Tony Mobley running. Please like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. We want to keep getting better. Yes, we want to keep getting better on Conversation with Tony Mobley. Please comment on YouTube. We want to thank everybody so much for being a part of this conversation today. I'm excited. I just want to say, Virtual Faith Connections is something that is near and dear to my heart, and we are live, and you guys get a chance to play with me in this ongoing lab. Thank you so much. Good night. God bless you. See you soon.